Howdy guys, and welcome to night 42 of Big Brother Season 24's Overnight Feed Recaps, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and greetings from Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm over here doing a little business. But doesn't mean I'm not still watching live feeds and not talking about it all this morning. So, what happened yesterday? What happened overnight? Well, we're going to talk about it. Now, first of all, before we talk about the game talk and all of that, it's low-key. I know it's barely been talked about in the house. It's probably not even worth mentioning as part of this recap. But just because most of y'all probably aren't aware, today is Jasmine's birthday. Yeah, we're celebrating Jasmine's birthday finally. Yeah, it was birthday week, but today, Wednesday, is the actual birthday celebration for Jasmine. And so we did have a celebration. We'll talk about that. So happy birthday, Jasmine. I hope you have a fantastic day. Enjoying cake and moving around a little better on the ankle and everything else. Happy birthday to you. All right, so let's talk about what actually happened in the house overnight. Now, first of all, remember that Indy and Terrence are still on the block after the veto ceremony. Indy sure seems like she's a target to go home. Unless something changes in the next 24 hours, Indy's going to be heading home. Well, she's going to be heading to the jury house as the first jury member, so we do have that. Doesn't mean there aren't conversations that didn't take place, though. One or two pretty important. For the most part, it was pretty chill in the house at this point in time. The targets have been established. People are just enjoying the backyard while they still have the opportunity. Which, can I say, I'm amazed that the backyard is still open. We've got this huge 2-hour show on Thursday, several HOH and veto competitions, it sounds like. The fact that the backyard is still available tells me that at least some of these competitions are going to be as typical for double evictions. Very quick, very basic setups, booths that you stand in, something like that. The setup is not going to take forever. It doesn't seem like, since they still have the backyard. But the house guests have been enjoying the backyard for most of the day, figuring they'll lose it today, Wednesday. So, overnight feeds. What actually happened? Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about Taylor and Joseph. They are now locked together as part of their 48-hour punishment. They have decided that they're going to start distancing themselves from one another after the punishment is over, so that their fake showmance, their fomance, doesn't put targets on them. Now, they've mentioned, Taylor said, Alyssa especially really wants them to be a showmance to take some of the heat off of her, but they're thinking it's probably better if they distance themselves a little bit. Joseph's saying, look, as long as I'm attached to Taylor, no one's talking game to me. If they think we're too close, they aren't going to talk game either. So we need to just chill this thing out and move away so I can keep getting some information. All right, they also are, Joseph's also suggesting to Taylor that Taylor and Brittany probably need to start distancing themselves a little bit. That it sure seems like the two of them have been hanging out a lot together, and that it may make them more of a target than they want to be if they continue to spend so much time together. So he's saying, not just me, but Brittany as well. Just hang it, just split off a little bit more, Taylor, and I think it's going to work better for you. All right, Alyssa, as your call, she hurt her back lifting weights still, and Kyle told her to play it up a little bit, which she's been doing. So as a result, Brittany gave her a hypnosis session in the Have Not room earlier yesterday afternoon. And Alyssa immediately said it made it feel so much better. Really grateful for it. I think Brittany really enjoyed getting the chance to do what she specializes in with someone and help them out, because she talked about it a little bit later. So hopefully Alyssa, whether she's playing it up or not, I hope her back's feeling a little bit better before we get all these competitions on Thursday. All right, lots of house guests, as I mentioned, enjoying the backyard while they still have it. At one point, everyone, I think except Terrence and maybe Monty, who was in the backyard but just sitting away from the rest of the group, but everyone else pretty much sitting around the hammock, not game talk. They're talking about childhood contests that they'd entered, contests that they'd won, embarrassing stories, dating, etc. Alyssa at one point said the first boy that she ever tried to go on a date with, her dad made him fill out an application to date my daughter, which pretty much just ruined the whole dating experience. So just a lot of those kind of fun stories about growing up and life and everything else. So we had that. Now, right after that, we did have a fairly long conversation. Kyle up in the HOH room just talking to the cameras. At one point, Brittany was coming over. He's like, no, don't come up here. I want to talk to the cameras, Brittany. Eventually, she goes away. So he starts talking to the cameras. It's very much a gripe session from Kyle that things aren't going quite the way he thinks they need to go to advance his game. He starts off, he's complaining about Taylor. He's saying, look, she started off promising safety to Indy and Alyssa and Jasmine, none of whom are in the Leftovers Alliance. So what was she doing with that? He said, then she wanted to put up Monty and Joseph as pawns, and we pointed out that if one of the girls won veto, then they're stuck and we send one of our people home. So then she decided to target Terrence instead, and then later she decided to target Indy instead, and then later she wanted to boot Alyssa instead, shift the target to that, and got Joseph on board and put a lot of pressure on me to send out my showmance. He said, she's changing her mind so much and it's driving me crazy. So he mentions that. Excuse me. He's complaining as well about Alyssa. He said, man, why did she take that prize? Why didn't she take the punishment? He's saying, chained to someone, she could have picked me. 48 hours, I would have loved to have been chained to Alyssa. Would you? Would you really, Kyle? I question that a little bit, but he's saying she should have picked the punishment. That was horrible gameplay from Alyssa to do that. And I hate that as well. He's complaining about, you get the theme of this conversation? He's complaining about Joseph, saying, look, Joseph 100% can't be trusted. He feels like Joseph is fully in Taylor's corner at this point and is supporting Taylor. And he's really thinking that Taylor and Monty and Joseph are now a threesome that have to be dealt with. So Kyle is seeing a lot of issues that as people start looking at the end game, and he's seeing all these issues that are going to create problems once they get to Final 7, Final 9, a little bit later in the game itself. And he wants to take some shots, and no one else seems to be agreeing with him. He's complaining about Turner, saying that Turner is too loyal to the Pound. Well, yeah, because he's one of the 4 members of the Pound, and he sees that as his vehicle towards the end. So I get it from Turner's standpoint, but he's complaining, saying Turner's too loyal to the Pound, that he really wants to create, that Kyle being the person, Kyle really wants to create this 5-person alliance that he's been talking about for a while, of him and Alyssa and Turner and Brittany and Michael, who would then be able to take a shot at Taylor and Monty and Joseph. But he says, but Turner's not biting. So I can't have this 5 versus 3 with Turner. It'd be 4 versus 4, and I just can't get Turner to flip. So he's not happy about that. Thinking about scenarios going forward, he's thinking the best case probably Indy goes home this week, at which point if Jasmine or Terrence were to win HOH, he figures that they would take the shot at Monty probably and hopefully go for Monty or Joseph, either one. Kyle says, or if I win HOH, I may just have to take the shot whether I've got Turner or not. All right, scenarios, great to make plans, but this twist is going to change everything up so much. Kyle's thinking he needs to have this 5-person alliance to take the shots and do what he needs to do. You don't need 5 people if you only have one group of 5 and another group of 5. It's only going to take a couple of votes to get someone out the door. We could see people heading out on Thursday that no one is counting on right now. This is really going to shake up the game, and I hope everyone's prepared. You may lose people that you really want to see gone, but you may be losing some people that you're cheering for, that you've picked in your fantasy leagues and everything to the very end. And people maybe who are playing some pretty fantastic games could be going home on Thursday. We don't know how these teams are going to be determined, and that's going to be the big kicker, I think. It's going to be a great Thursday. All right. We've got that. Kyle also is wondering if he should tell Alyssa about the leftovers. How does she not already know? How is this still a secret? But he's wondering if he should tell her about the leftovers. But he's saying she might spill the secret to Jasmine. Jasmine knows, right? Maybe doesn't know the name, but beyond that, she knows, right? But he's worried that if he tells Alyssa, Alyssa will tell Jasmine. And so he's saying maybe to keep that from happening, I need to go ahead and just boot Alyssa, get her out the door perhaps. And he says, but if I lose Alyssa, then I'm in even worse shape than before. Well, yes and no. I truly think if Alyssa's gone, the rest of the leftovers feel more comfortable with Kyle. But Kyle understands that he's probably not at the top of the pecking order for that alliance. And so, maybe that helps him in the short term. In the long term, not so much. So Kyle is certainly torn at this point in time. All right, so we finished the soliloquy by Kyle. It was a pretty long conversation, and he finished up with some kind of TikTok dance or something. But anyway, He kind of spoke his mind. At least he spoke his mind privately, just to the cameras, just to us as viewers. You don't want to be spouting a lot of that stuff off in front of everyone else. I thought he took a few chances already talking to Turner and pushing for this alliance, and I just feel like if he's not careful, word's going to get back to the other side, and then Kyle's goose truly is cooked. All right, so we have that conversation. What else is going on? Birthday celebration is starting to be planned. The works are in action, but there is some bad news for Jasmine. It has been decided, apparently by Big Brother, that chicken wings are a luxury item. So no more chicken wings. There'll be no chicken wings for Jasmine's birthday. I think Jasmine says something like, "How can you have a birthday without chicken wings?" Well, you got to be flexible, right, inside the Big Brother house. So no chicken wings for Jasmine's birthday, but we've got cupcakes, we've got cakes, we've got White Claws, we've got wine. We even had little funny party hats and everything else. I think they'll be okay. But we do have that. All right, now we've got all the house guests actually eating dinner, getting ready to start Jasmine's birthday dinner right at midnight. You would think this was have-nots finishing up. They're not going to let a second of the birthday day not be celebrated. So they actually are getting ready, and as I mentioned, cake, cupcakes, alcohol, they're good to go. I don't know if we're going to have a halfway celebration in the Big Brother house because they're kind of doing it with Jasmine's birthday instead. So we may not. I bet we still see it. Yeah, we won't get on the cameras, but they'll probably still have something. I would think at one point in time. I hope so for their benefit. Halfway celebration was great. They shut down the feast for a couple hours, play music. They brought out a big cake with all of our pictures on it. It was a fun time just to get away from the game for just a few hours. But first, they got a birthday to celebrate. So we're gonna have that in just a second. Now we do have Indy and Brittany at the hammock. Indy is saying that she feels pretty good, that she thinks that she has Kyle's vote to stay, which gives her 6 votes. No, that's not the case. At one point, Michael comes out as well, and I think Michael asked her who she has votes from, and she mentioned several people, and he's a little surprised that Joseph's one of the people that she thinks has a vote to save her. A lot of people are not planning to vote for her that she thinks are, so it's unfortunate. The question is going to be, do they tell her before the eviction, or do they let her be blindsided? I have a feeling they'll probably tell her last minute. Once it's assured it's going to happen, I think they'll do that. All right. Eventually, Indy leaves. We've got Brittany and Michael at the hammock. Brittany is talking about, they're talking about scenarios going forward. Brittany is worried about the optics of splitting from the leftovers. Basically, this idea that Kyle's been floating, that you've got Monty and Taylor and Joseph on one side, and then you've got Brittany and Michael and Turner and Alyssa and Kyle on the other side. Brittany's worried about the optics of that because of the racial makeup of Monty, Taylor, and Joseph on one side, and then the others on the other side. She's worried about it. She's saying, look, if we could take race out of it, I'd love to work with Turner and Kyle and Alyssa, but the optics just don't look good, otherwise. And Michael is talking about the fact, he's saying, look, I'm not going to assume that there are alliances right now that are based on race. It could be, but I'm not going to make that assumption just because. I'm not going to do it. Michael, though, is talking as well that he really thinks there may be some advantages to getting Joseph out the door, because he's saying if Joseph's out the door, we can pull Taylor back into us. We can get her tighter with us again. That should help our game because she's gotten too close to Joseph, which Kyle has kind of pointed out as well. So Michael's saying, get rid of Joseph. We'll reel Taylor back in. Brittany's saying the same thing with regards to Jasmine and Alyssa. She's saying, look, if we get rid of Jasmine, I think we can work with Alyssa. And Brittany's saying that she'd love to work with Alyssa at some point. She's saying if Jasmine's gone, hopefully we can get Alyssa to come over as well and really get her close to us also. So they're thinking about where we're going here over the next few weeks as well. All right, birthday celebration. Well, before that, I don't want to keep building it up, but yeah, it's worthy of the buildup, right? We've got Jasmine saying that she'd like a meditation session for her birthday as well from Brittany, and I'm sure Brittany will be more than happy to give her a session. She's also, Jasmine, saying that because she's a Leo, it's all about her. If it's not all about her, there's an issue. So I didn't realize astrology signs have that much effect. But she's saying as Leo that it has to be all about her. We've got Alyssa and Kyle cuddling in the Jetsons' bedroom for a little bit. Not really talking too much game. I complain a little bit about Turner. Alyssa's upset. I think that Turner's not more willing to work with him. But for the most part, it's just cuddling as those two are wont to do. And then finally, at midnight, they actually have a countdown. Monty's over watching the oven clock, counting down the seconds. As soon as it gets there, they begin the celebration of Jasmine's birthday. They've made her a birthday card from a cereal box they don't have writing instruments, so everyone's used lip prints and thumb prints and made their version of a birthday card for her, which actually was kind of cool. So they've got that. There was a classic shot of Turner watching this celebration, and you could tell by his face, just wishing he was anywhere but at that birthday celebration. So we do have a great shot of Turner. They're celebrating. Well, but maybe not celebrating so much. But Turner, everyone shows up. So happy birthday to Jasmine. Jasmine at one point does say, all right, I want everyone to tell me 2 things that they like about me. Joseph, you start. And then she gives them a hard time for taking too long to answer. But then they go around the room, everyone talk about things that they like about Jasmine. So we had that as part of the celebration. Eventually, the party moved to the backyard. Now, Jasmine stayed in the living room. Terrence stayed in the living room for a while. And Terrence is getting tatted up. I don't know what the tattoo count is now, but he's running out of skin. He's got a lot of tattoos. He did mention at one point he's going to have to put at least one tattoo very close to his butt crack. So, Nicole's no longer in the house. Nicole was the official wiper for people needing assistance. I'm not sure who's going to be the one taking the bullet to put that tattoo on Terrence, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. He's looking pretty tatted up. But most of the people go out into the backyard again to enjoy a little time while they've got the backyard still back there. No game. There's too many of them back there, so there's no real game discussion. And them just hanging around chatting and everything else. All right. We do have up in the HOH room Taylor and Joseph and Monty and Turner all visiting. Joseph is talking about the fact that because he's been chained to Taylor, he really has had minimal game talk during the day. We saw Terrence trying to talk to Joseph, but uncomfortable that Taylor was in there as well. Because, again, they don't know that Joseph's part of this alliance with Taylor. So he's saying minimal game talk. He is saying that Terrence, while he was in there, had promised that he would take shots if they kept him, that he could be the person who made the big shots and all that. But Joseph's saying, yeah, Indy kind of said the same thing too. So, it is what it is. But Joseph mentions to Turner and Monty the same thing he'd said earlier. Said, Taylor and I, we've talked about, I think we're going to start distancing ourselves from each other just because it's making us too big a target and I'm not able to get information otherwise. So they're going to do that. They're confirming, I think Turner says that he talked to Alyssa, who's confirming she's still voting out Indy. They're basically confirming that, yeah, Indy's still a target. Joseph has told Jasmine, said, if that changes for some reason, please let me know. I want to be on the right side of the vote and everything else. But it sounds like it's going to be Indy heading out the door. Eventually, we get Michael and Brittany up into the HOH room as well. So now you've got everyone from the leftovers except for Kyle, who's in the have-not room cuddling with Alyssa on the butterfly float and not really so focused on the leftover alliance. And that's a concern from this side. The fact that, once again, 6 of them are up there. The one other person is busy in another room. But they're up there. They're talking about that. They hope this is okay. That eventually Alyssa's gonna have to go, and hopefully Kyle really is good with it, and that they hope he is. They think he will be, and all of that. So there you have it, guys. Taping this a little bit earlier than usual. Leftovers are still upstairs, still talking. A little game, but not anything too serious. The last I saw, but still upstairs as of the taping time of 3 o'clock of Big Brother time, which is 6 o'clock in the morning Atlanta time. Couldn't wait any longer, had to tape it. So there you have it, guys. The main thing is Jasmine's birthday celebration has begun. Kyle's gotten very frustrated that he isn't able to sway the rest of the group the way he wants it to, and feeling a little threatened with his position in the game right now. and lots of scenarios being talked about, and none of them amount to a hill of beans because we got such a big twist coming up on Thursday that's going to throw everything up in the air. So it's going to be an exciting Thursday. But guys, y'all have a fantastic Wednesday. I will be back tomorrow for Eviction Thursday. We'll talk a little bit about what happened overnight. Indy did say that she's waiting until today to do her hardcore campaigning. So we'll see how that works out. I don't think it will go quite as well as Indy thinks, but she's going to be doing her campaigning today. We may have a lot of house guests hiding anywhere they can find in that house throughout the next 24 hours. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Wednesday. I will be back tomorrow to carry on, tell you what happened overnight again tonight. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.